All right, dinner time. Exodus chapter 10. And Jehovah said to Moshe, Go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the hearts of his servants, so that I show these signs of mine before him, and that you relate in the hearing of your son and your son's sons what I have done in Mizraim, and my signs which I have done among them, and you shall know that I am Jehovah. And Moshe and Aharon came in to Pharaoh and said to him, Thus said Jehovah, Elohim of the Hebrews, Till when shall you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they serve me. Or else if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I am bringing locusts within your borders. And they shall cover the surface of the land, so that no one is able to see the land. And they shall eat the rest of what has escaped, which remains to you from the hail. And they shall eat every tree which grows up for you out of the field. And they shall fill your house, and the houses of your servants, and the houses of the Mizrites, which neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were on the earth to this day. Then he turned and went out from Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's servants said to him, Till when would this one be a snare to us? Let the men go, so that they serve Jehovah their Elohim. Do you not yet know that Mizraim is destroyed? And Moshe and Aharon were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go serve Jehovah your Elohim. Who are the ones that are going? And Moshe said, We are going with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, with our flocks and our herds. We are going, for we have a festival to Jehovah. And he said to them, Let Jehovah be with you as I let you and your little ones go. Watch, for evil is before your face. Not so, you men go now and serve Jehovah, for that is what you desired. And they were driven out from the presence of Pharaoh. And Jehovah said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand over the land of Mizraim, for the locust to come upon the land of Mizraim, and eat every plant of the land, all that the hail has left. And Moshe stretched out his rod over the land of Mizraim, and Jehovah brought an east wind on the land all that day and all that night. Morning came, and the east wind brought the locust. And the locust went up over all the land of Mizraim, and settled within all the borders of Mizraim, very grievous. There had never been locusts like them before, nor would there again be like them. And they covered the surface of all the land, so that the land was darkened. And they ate every plant of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And no greenness was left on the trees, or on the plants of the field, in all the land of Mizraim. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aharon in haste, and said, I have sinned against Jehovah, your Elohim, and against you. And now, please forgive my sin only this once, and pray to Jehovah your Elohim, that he would only turn away this death from me. And he went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Jehovah. And Jehovah turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the sea of reeds. Not one locust was left within all the border of Mizraim. However, Jehovah strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go. And Jehovah said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand toward the heavens, and let there be darkness over the land of Mizraim. even a darkness which is felt. And Moshe stretched out his hand toward the heavens, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Mizraim for 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days, while all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called to Moshe and said, Go serve Jehovah, only leave your flocks and your herds behind. Let your little ones go with you too. And Moshe said, You yourself are to provide us with slaughterings and ascending offerings to prepare for Jehovah our Elohim. And our livestock are to go with us too. Not a hoof is to be left behind. For we have to take some of them to serve Jehovah our Elohim. And we ourselves do not know with what we are to serve Jehovah until we come there. However, Jehovah strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said to him, Get away from me. Watch yourself and see my face no more. For in the day you see my face, you die. And Moshe said, You have spoken rightly. Never again do I see your face. And Jehovah said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mizraim. After that, he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and objects of gold. And Jehovah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mizrahites. And the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mizraim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. And Moshe said, Thus said Jehovah, about midnight I am going out into the midst of Mizraim. And all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mizraim, such has never been or ever shall be again. But again, any of the children of Israel, no dog shall move its tongue against man or against beast, so that you know that Jehovah makes distinction between Mizraim and Yisrael. And all the servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, Get out, you and all the people at your feet. And after that I shall go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Jehovah said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mizraim. And Moshe and Aharon did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Jehovah strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. And Jehovah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon in the land of Mizraim, saying, This new moon is the beginning, a new moon's for you. It is the first new moon of the year for you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the numbers of the beings, according to each man's need. You make your count for the lamb. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year old. Take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same new moon. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between the evenings. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night roasted in fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. And do not leave of it until morning. And what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. And this is how you eat it: your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesach of Jehovah. And I shall pass through the land of Mizraim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, both man and beast. And on all the mighty ones of Mizraim I shall execute judgment. I am Jehovah. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mizraim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to Jehovah throughout your generations. Celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. And on the first day it is a set-apart gathering, and on the 7th day you have a set-apart gathering. No one at all is done on them. No work at all is done on them. Only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared by you. And you shall guard the festival of Matzot. For on this same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mizraim, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting covenant. In the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon, in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses, for if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether sojourner or native of the land. Do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings you are to eat unleavened bread. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go out and take lambs for yourselves according to your clans, and slay the Pesach. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And you, none of you shall go out of the door of this house until morning. And Jehovah shall pass on to smite the Mizrites, and shall see the blood on the lintel of the 2 doorposts. And Jehovah shall pass over the door, and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever. And it shall be when you come to the land which Jehovah gives to you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. And it shall be when your children say to you, What does this service mean to you? Then you shall say, It is the Pesach slaughtering of Jehovah, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mizraim, when he smote the Mizrites and delivered our households. And the people bowed their heads and did obedience. And the children of Israel went away and did so as Jehovah had commanded Moshe and Aharon, so they did. And it came to be at midnight that Jehovah struck all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Mizrahites, and there was a great cry in Mizraim, for there was not a house where there was not a dead one. And they called for Moshe and Aharon by night and said, Arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go, serve Jehovah as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go. Then you shall bless me too. And the Mizrahites were strong on the people to hasten to send them away out of the land, for they said, We are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had gone according to the word of Moshe, and they had asked from the Mizrahites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments. And Jehovah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mizrahites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mizrahites. And the children of Israel set out from Rameses to Sukkoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones. And a mixed multitude went up with them too, also flocks and herds, very much livestock. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought out from Mizraim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mizraim and had not been able to delay, nor had they prepared food for themselves. And the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Mizraim was 430 years. And it came to be at the end of the 430 years, on the same day it came to be, that all the divisions of Jehovah went out from the land of Mizraim. It is a night of watches unto Jehovah, for bringing them out of the land of Mizraim. This is the night of watches unto Jehovah, for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. And Jehovah said to Moshe and Aharon, This is the law of the Pesach. No son of a stranger is to eat of it. But any servant, a man, has bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, then let him eat of it. A sojourner and a hired servant does not eat of it. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside of the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And when a stranger sojourns with you and shall perform the Pesach to Jehovah, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and perform it. And he shall be a native of the land, but let no uncircumcised eat of it. There is one Torah for the native born and for the stranger who sojourns among you. And all the children of Israel did as Jehovah commanded Moshe and Aharon, so they did. And it came to be on the same day that Jehovah brought the children of Israel out of the land of Mizraim according to their divisions.